Hey there, friends. It's Elizabeth here from the Everyday Storyteller, and I am back with week 5 in my 2023 Project Life album. So, if you've been here before, you know that I am documenting this year in a 6x12 album, one that has 4 4x6 slots and 4 3x4s available in a spread, and that seems to be working really well for me right now. For this particular spread, I'm going to be using a combination of physical elements and lots of digital as well. So as you can see, I'm just organizing my photos and my journaling. I have quite a bit of journaling. I have a 3x4 and a 4x6, and I am just going to be adding some extra color to this spread using these cardstock frames. These were, I believe, available as an add-on in January of 2023 from AllieEdwards.com. This whole spread is created with Allie's products. You'll see here in a second that I am also going to be taking you to the computer and using some digital elements from the XO Story Kit by Allie Edwards to create some extra embellishments. So you're going to see that here in a second. So I have the free version, so you can do this no matter what tier you are in Silhouette Studio. I have the Silhouette Portrait, so that is the size that I have here on my mat. I'm actually going to switch this to the PicScan Portrait cutting mat, because that's the one that I'm going to be using since I'm cutting out glitter. But you could do this with the regular mat as well. It's just easier for me to do it with my PicScan mat. All right, so I am using one of the digital stamps in PNG format. I am using this Botanical Heart from the Allie Edwards XO Story Kit, and I'm just going to drag and drop it onto my Silhouette cutting mat. And I believe that I figured out that the dimensions for this particular heart was going to be 3 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that the little lock key is on there, and then I'm going to change the width to 3, and then it will change my height as well. So here I am with that. I don't want to waste any of my glitter paper, so I'm going to put it as close to the side as I can without worrying about everything else that I'm going to add to here. So once I have that in the right place, in the right size, I'm going to go over to the trace panel, select trace area, and then I'm just going to trace the heart. As you can see, if I zoom in here, it does pretty well. So I'm not going to adjust anything, and I'm just going to say trace. All right, so now all of these little leaves and hearts should be outlined. I'm gonna move that. Yep, they're outlined. You don't have to do that. I'm just doing it to show you that there are now cut lines for each of those. So I'm gonna just go back and undo the move so that it's exactly in the same spot. And then I am going to use this shape, and I am going to click the offset panel. So I'm going to offset this shape by about 0.05, I think. I think that's a pretty good offset. I'm going to make sure that I have a curved corner and not a squared corner so that everything looks all nice and rounded. I do have a few little spots that I don't really like right here, so maybe I am going to bump that up. All right, so I went with 0.07 inches just so that I had a really nice border around all of my cutout shapes. So then I'm going to click apply. All right, and then I'm just going to take the original digital stamp, and I'm pressing Control X or Command X on my Mac to delete that. And then I can go ahead and I can send this to my silhouette. So let's go back to my desk and see how that looks. All right, so I have gone ahead and cut all of that out on my silhouette portrait. As you can see, I am working with the gold glitter paper, which was a little bit heavier than I expected. So I had a little bit of trouble making sure that everything cut the way that it was supposed to. The silhouette is, I swear, the bane of my existence. I love how it looks, but it's trouble, you guys. I am definitely not a silhouette expert, but I still really like the way that this cut file turned out. As you can see, I already had the, oh yeah, lots of love for this part of the digital stamp printed on my photo. So I am just going to be using some Tombow Mono liquid adhesive and very carefully going around all of the cut lines and gluing that down onto my photo above and below the digital stamp, so it makes kind of a little bit of a 3D look instead of just printing the entire digital stamp onto my photo. I'm also going to go over to this photo of my daughter with her Valentine's Day notes, and I'm going to add another cut file that I created using a digital stamp from the EXO Story Kit that says Hugs and Kisses. And I am going to be using some extra caution and some liquid glue to put that onto my page. As you can see, it was very finicky this time around doing this layout because I had a lot of little things that I needed to cut and glue. But after that is done, I'm going to work on adhering my cardstock frames. I'm just using my regular Tombow Mono adhesive, and you will see, maybe if you catch it, that I'm actually covering up the last paragraph of my journaling here. Apparently I miscalculated how much space I had inside of these cardstock frames. And I didn't even actually realize it until I was almost done that I had covered up some of my journaling, and I was reading back and I was like, wait, there's something missing. But it's all right. I feel like I told a story that I wanted to tell, and it's all right that I did not include that last paragraph. As you can see, I am going to be doing the same thing to that photo. This is of my daughter's craft project that she created for Valentine's Day. And then I'm going to go on to the rest of my spread. And at this point, I start adding everything that I have into the page protectors. As you can see, I have one 3x4 slot that is open. I am saving that for my date. I went ahead and created a circle in Photoshop with my date with a color that goes along with some of the other colors that I am using, and I'm going to back that onto this butterfly overlay paper. This is from the February Stories by the Month kit by Ali Edwards, so I'm just going to cut that down into 3x4 size and add that as a background to my date circle. And then I'm also going to use just a little bit of that butterfly transparency to add to the top of my 3x4 journaling card. You're going to see that here in a second. I'm just attaching my date circle with my tiny attacher by Tim Holtz. And my original plan for that 3x4 card was actually to add a chipboard piece, but I felt like it looked a little bit too empty, so I'm just going to go ahead and back my chipboard piece with some of that butterfly transparency, and it worked really well, just to make sure that that pattern went onto the left side of the page. And now I'm just going to be adding some embellishments. So my camera actually cut out a tiny bit of the process of adding my chipboard hearts. As you can see on the frame that says "Love This" up in the left-hand corner, along with the chipboard heart, I actually did add the negatives of that heart that I cut out with my silhouette. So it has that gold glitter leaf in the background. I'm going to do that to, I believe, just one more embellishment throughout the layout, and that helped keep the gold going across the spread. So the last thing that I'm going to add is this "Thankful for You" heart. All of these heart chipboards are from previous Stories by the Month kits for February. I have a bunch of those in my stash, and I am just adhering them with my tiny attacher and calling this spread complete. So I really love how this one came together. It's very simple from a design perspective, but I love that the digital stamps turned into cut files give this a little bit more pizzazz and a little bit more shimmer and shine, which is what I wanted for this first week of February. And I'm really excited to keep going with 2023's Project Life album. Thanks so much for joining me.